The Beijing elite crown prince fell in love with a disabled, but strong-willed pregnant woman. He was determined to ditch me, the little princess of Shanghai's elite circles. My heart was set on the family alliance, so I arranged for the woman's leg treatment and even helped with her delivery. Unexpectedly, she suffered from postpartum depression and jumped off a building with the baby. Years later, the crown prince took control of the resources of both Beijing and Shanghai circles. He acquired my family's company, swallowed our assets, and sent my entire family to prison. This is the price for destroying my love. Now we're even. When I opened my eyes again, the crown prince was publicly proposing to a 38-year-old disabled pregnant woman. I walked towards the northeast crown prince sitting in the corner, wearing a mink coat and a thick gold chain, and commanded him, "Marry me. Yes or no?" In the private room, Victor held an engagement ring, proposing to the woman in the wheelchair. Our friends looked shocked and somewhat awkwardly glanced at me. After all, I was Victor's fiancée. By proposing to someone else in front of me, he was slapping me in the face. Someone tried to mediate. "Victor, stop joking. Chloe is right here. Fun is fun. But some things can't be taken seriously, especially a 38-year-old pregnant woman carrying her ex-husband's child. Apologize to Chloe now. She probably won't hold it against you." In higher social circles, some things are understood without being said. Victor could flirt and play around with other women, but he could never give the position of lady of the Liu family to someone outside our social stratum. Everyone knew clearly that only powerful alliances could ensure the family's maximum interests. But Victor didn't understand this. He stubbornly fell in love with Grace, a 38-year-old, double amputee yet beautiful woman with a strong will. Faced with everyone's attempts to console him, Victor looked disdainful. "I'm not joking. I love Grace, and no one can stop me. Chloe, I told you before that I don't love you. Don't force me. I will never change my mind." He looked at me coldly, 3 sentences meant to make me back off. Gracefully, I was dazed for a moment, not responding to him. Grace, however, refused, putting on a righteous front. "I won't be the other woman, Victor. Stop messing around and apologize to Miss Zhu." In the face of Victor's passionate pursuit, Grace had always maintained a stance of refusal. She said she knew her place. She also knew about the engagement between Victor and me. She hated homewreckers the most. So, to free her from the label of the other woman, Victor did this. Calling off the engagement in front of me, making a promise to Grace. "Chloe, our engagement is off, understand? Don't stand in the way of me marrying Grace." Everyone looked at me, even kindly saying, "Chloe, don't take Victor seriously. He's just causing trouble. Don't worry. No one can call off your engagement. Just let him be. I'll take you somewhere else to have fun." The relationships between major families are intricately connected. The people present here all had some form of familial ties. No one wanted to see established contracts and cooperations cancelled because of the conflict between Victor and me. Someone tried to lead me away. I snapped back to reality, shook off my friend's hand, and slowly stood up, facing Victor. "Fine, I agree. The engagement is off. From now on, our Zhu family and you, Victor, have no further connection." As soon as I finished speaking, everyone was stunned. Victor, however, breathed a sigh of relief. He added, "This choice is best for both of us. Marriage is the end of love. You and I together would only lead to ruin." Well, he was right. Being with him would indeed lead to ruin. But being with Grace would only lead to another kind of ruin. How could a massive, established family be managed by someone as aloof and poor as Grace? In her past life, she couldn't even accept being kept. Someone with no real fortitude. In the battles of wealthy families, she would just be waiting to be devoured. I glanced at Grace, who couldn't hide her glee. But she immediately straightened her face and said, "Chloe, it wasn't me who stole your lover." I nodded. "Of course. Someone like Victor is trash and belongs in the bin, and you're just right for him." Grace's face turned pale. Victor frowned. "Chloe, no need to turn bitter just because you can't have my love." I sneered. "Your love? Love your fickleness? Or love your blindness? Don't make me laugh. Victor, are you even worth my love?" With that, I walked towards the northeast crown prince, who had been silent in the corner, ostracized by the Beijing and Shanghai circles. He looked up at me, his deep eyes slightly furrowed. As the light shifted, the large gold chain around his neck nearly blinded me. "Jackson, how about a kiss?" His eyes flashed with surprise. Everyone around us held their breath, watching us. Jackson asked, puzzled, "You feeling all right, love?" A strong northeastern accent instantly filled the room, making the Beijing and Shanghai socialites frown. But to me, this familiar voice felt incredibly safe and warm. In my past life, this man had spent his entire fortune, ready to go down fighting for me against Victor. Even though I barely spoken to him, he turned out to be the one who loved me most. I smiled, tears welling in my eyes, and pressed him, "Marry me. Yes or no?" He pursed his thin lips, his handsome face unreadable. As Jackson stood up, his gold chains clinked noisily. "Wait for me to bring the betrothal gifts to your family." He glanced at the ring on Victor's finger and tatted twice. "That piece of junk isn't worth anything. Wait for me to get you a better one." After speaking, he headed for the door. But after 2 steps, he turned back, leaned in, and kissed me on the cheek. Then he pointed a finger at me, warning, "No takebacks, even if you try to back out." I'll still find a way to marry you, you started this. Jackson's betrothal gifts were transported from the northeast to the south by dozens of helicopters. The Shanghai and Beijing circles generally didn't mix much with the northeast circle, so none of the socialites around me had married into the northeast circle. I was the first, breaking the barrier between the Shanghai and northeast circles, and thus, I witnessed such an extravagant scene. Boxes of gold were carried into the house, one after another. Bags of cash were hauled in. Sack after sack. Property deeds and luxury car keys were presented to my grandfather on trays, one tray after another. Jackson, finally unable to bear the southern heat, took off his several million-pound mink coat and changed into a sharp, custom-tailored suit. As soon as he entered, he knelt on both knees before my grandfather and announced loudly, "I wish the esteemed patriarch you good health. Your grandson-in-law has come to ask for your granddaughter's hand. I beg you to grant me the opportunity to love and cherish your granddaughter for the rest of my life." Thump, thump, thump. 3 loud kodos. Jackson performed them without hesitation. I stood stunned next to my grandfather, my heart uneasy. Grandfather was dumbfounded by the scene, one hand trembling uncontrollably. I tried to calm him. "Grandpa, just a small scene, stay calm. Stay calm." Grandfather gritted his teeth. He had many reservations, but in the end, he couldn't bear the thought of the injustice I'd suffered from Victor, and he couldn't fault Jackson's impeccable conduct and respect. Looking across the entire Beijing and Shanghai circles, Jackson was the first to make such a grand betrothal gesture, and the first to kowtow so resoundingly. After a long while, Grandpa finally convinced himself, a bit rough around the edges, but if you can truly accept him, I can't really say much. Marry him then. Once you're married, live well together. No funny business. That evening, while Grandpa had people inventory the betrothal gifts, he secretly had my household registration booklet delivered to Jackson. Early the next morning, before dawn, I was still asleep. Jackson rushed into my room, picked me up, and carried me into a stretch Lincoln. "Let's go to the civil registry to register." I nestled in Jackson's arms, still half asleep, when I heard him swallow hard a couple of times. After a while, I finally woke up. He looked overcome, the corners of his eyes red, and exclaimed, "Wife, I'm so happy." Annoyed, I slapped his face. "What are you doing? We're not even married yet." His handsome face froze. Just as I thought he was about to get angry too, his voice trembled slightly. "Wife? Does your hand hurt?" Action and reaction, you know? Such delicate little hands must hurt. "Next time you want to hit me, just say the word. I can hit myself." I was taken aback. Then I saw him raise his hand and slap himself hard across the face. "Wife, I admit I was wrong. But I was just afraid my wife to be would fly away. I couldn't help it. Once we get the certificate, everything I do will be proper. Forgive me this once. When we get back, I'll kneel on the washboard, kneel on broken glass, let you whip me. I won't make a sound." When we got the red marriage booklets, Jackson cried, tears streamed down his face. "Wife, you've wronged yourself. I know if that bastard Victor hadn't been blind, this incredible fortune would never have landed on me. Wife, don't worry. With me, you'll never suffer the slightest injustice. Whatever the Beijing Crown Prince could give you, U.S. Northeast Crown Prince will only give you more." And so, this competitive, contentious, face-conscious Northeastern man, upon learning the date of Victor and Grace's wedding ceremony, unhesitatingly scheduled our engagement party for the very same day. Victor booked the entire top floor of the Empress Hotel for his engagement banquet with Grace. Jackson then booked all the other floors of the Empress Hotel for our engagement banquet. Victor arranged 18 luxury cars for the wedding procession. Jackson marshaled all the luxury cars owned by the Northeast Crown Prince faction, and had them transported south, a total of 108 limited edition supercars from around the world. Victor had a unique diamond engagement ring, custom made for Grace. Jackson mobilized the entire northeastern mining industry to select for me the largest pink diamond in the world, to date bigger than a pigeon egg. People said Jackson was doing this to save face for me. Victor found it laughable. What can a parvenu like him do that's classy besides spend money? An engagement party is for relatives and friends. What he's doing is just vulgar and tacky. Chloe just picked him in a fit of pique. She'll regret it eventually. Jackson heard Victor's comments but was uncharacteristically calm. He just focused every second on arranging the engagement party. On the day of the engagement, Victor's procession of 18 luxury cars ended up behind the Northeast faction's motorcade. The decorated fronts of his cars looked utterly ridiculous wedged between ours. The drivers for Victor weren't unwilling to overtake. Within the same brand, a car worth 10 million inherently outclasses one worth 1 million. Besides, the 18 hired drivers hardly dared to jostle amongst the 108 Northeast Crown Princes. The princes wouldn't care about a scratch or a dent on their cars. They only cared about holding up the prestige for their brother Jackson. The two parties went their separate ways to their respective venues, but halfway through our engagement ceremony, a torrential downpour started outside the glass windows. I was just surprised when he saw Victor pushing Grace, whose makeup was running from the rain, down from the rooftop. The bride and groom looked especially pathetic next to Jackson and me. The handful of guests attending the Liu family's engagement party hung their heads in embarrassment before the assembled bigwigs of the Northeast and Shanghai circles. I then realized that not a single member of the Liu family had come to Victor's event. A rooftop ceremony is romantic, but your wedding is so shabby even the heavens can't stand it. An imperfect wedding is certainly memorable, just like some people prefer imperfect people, yeah? Some people not only like disabled people but also enjoy becoming instant dads. To a much older woman-esque child, these were the taunts from the Shanghai Northeast circles. Grace's face flushed red, and she refused to lift her head. Victor, however, still shielded Grace in his arms and glared at us. Shut your mouths. A bunch of mercenaries like you could never understand what true love is, HMM. Indeed, our kind doesn't understand true love. We are profit-oriented. We value family alliances highly. So, when Victor chose Grace over me, the Shanghai and Beijing circles had already started distancing themselves from Victor. The Liu family had many children. Without the Zhu family's support, Victor was nothing. The fact that no Liu family members attended Victor and Grace's engagement said it all. Previously, the Northeast circle couldn't get close to the Shanghai and Beijing circles because the latter didn't know the Northeast's true strength and looked down on them somewhat. This engagement party of ours finally let the Shanghai and Beijing circles see the Northeast circle as power. Those with power can, of course, coexist. So, the young masters and ladies who used to hang out with Victor now quickly switched sides to ours. First, to distance themselves from Victor. Second, to curry favor with the Northeast crown princes and princesses. Giving me face was giving Jackson face. My marriage to Jackson was just the first step in integrating the Northeast circle into the Shanghai and Beijing circles. Victor's engagement party ended hastily. The princes and princesses of the Beijing, Shanghai, and Northeast circles partied with us late into the night. The next day, I heard that Victor had been kicked out of the Liu family by the patriarch. Even his CEO position in the Liu family had been stripped early on by the patriarch. Victor now basically had no say in the Liu family. Friends said without Chloe, Victor is disabled just like Grace if he wants true love. Let's see how long that love lasts without money. Taking care of a disabled fiancé and preparing to be an instant dad. He must be blind to have abandoned Chloe. When these words reached me, I worried Jackson's temper might flare up, but he said, "Why would I be upset? I am the backup plan. Actually understand Victor's love sickness because I have it too." Seriously, wife? If you were disabled and carrying someone else's child, as long as you were willing, I'd still marry you. I asked him when he started liking me. He said, "The first time I saw you, the Northeast circle had its own industries and connections. They were nouveau rich with money overflowing. So, after being cold-shouldered by the Shanghai and Beijing circles, he kept hanging around us just to catch a glimpse of me every day. He'd been planning to confess for years, but I was engaged to Victor. He was already looked down upon by the Shanghai and Beijing socialites. He didn't want to increase my disdain for him. Victor is blind. How can some aloof, disabled pregnant woman compare to my Princess Chloe? Is her waist as slim as yours? Are her lips as soft as yours?" Every word of his was straightforward. Blunt affection. Praising my beauty, gentleness, generosity, intelligence, and thoughtfulness. His silly demeanor was exactly like a husky's. "Wife, I love you. You have no idea. That day in the private room when you said marry me, I almost lost it. After I got back, I searched everywhere for your public photos. I held your picture and didn't sleep all night." His chin rested on my shoulder. Pitifully, I tightened my grip, forcing myself to remain composed. His voice softened, deliberately toning down his northeastern accent, adopting a soft, breathy tone. "Okay, my little princess. My little princess Chloe." Later, in my office, someone burst in, hearing the door open. Jackson immediately shielded me in his embrace, tucked tightly against him. With only my eyes visible, I saw it was Victor who had intruded. His slightly red eyes were full of disbelief. What was he doing here? Jackson frowned, all trace of his earlier gentleness gone. "Victor, if you're sick, go to the hospital. Get the hell out." Victor was holding a cake from my favorite bakery. The cake fell to the floor, smashed to pieces. He didn't retreat but instead coldly scolded, "Chloe, you actually..." Victor was ridiculous. Jackson and I were legally married. How could Victor act so surprised? Jackson didn't hold back. "Are you fucking jealous of me and Chloe?" "Too late now. Let me tell you. Chloe's mine. You'd better get the hell back to your woman. Don't make me hit you right now." Jackson threw everything on the desk within reach of Victor. Every shot hit its mark. If Jackson hadn't been holding me, he probably would have rushed over and fought Victor then and there. Victor was a man who valued decorum. He disdained rough behavior and cursing. So, he could only leave indignantly. But what right did he have to be indignant? Wasn't this the outcome he himself had chosen? After Victor left, Jackson immediately closed the door. When he returned, he seemed angry to die. What followed was about a venting. He vented while crying. "Wife, I'm sorry. I'm just so pissed off right now. Who does Victor think he is? Barging in like that? Even I know to knock before entering your office. I really want to kill that bastard." His grievance, I didn't understand. His tears seemed crocodilian. It was all an act, just to stop me from scolding him for being too rough. I leaned back on the sofa. I felt tired but couldn't sleep. I casually asked, "Why did Victor come?" and had Jackson look into Victor's recent situation. It turned out Victor and Grace weren't doing well. He came to me hoping to reconcile. Victor's been kicked out of the Beijing Crown Prince Circle. The Liu family cut him off. Now he and Grace are renting a tiny studio for $1,000 a month. Grace never liked interacting with her ex-husband because of her disability. And after getting pregnant, she liked it even less. The ex-husband couldn't stand her constant aloofness and divorced her. Now Victor can't stand it either. Besides, Victor used to be surrounded by young, beautiful top-tier women. Facing a 38-year-old pregnant woman, this is normal for him. Now, with no money and a low quality of life, Victor regrets getting engaged to Grace and wants to get back with Chloe. Jackson was very unhappy when he told me this. I coaxed him. He's ugly, short, stupid, and clumsy. He can't compare to you at all. Don't be angry. He shook his head, burying his face in my arms. He's not stupid. He knows enough to regret it and come begging for reconciliation. Just then, my phone rang. It was Victor calling. I was about to hang up, but Jackson quickly pressed answer. The call connected. Victor's voice came through. He said, "Chloe, I can forgive you for being with that vulgar Jackson, but you still can't compare to Grace in my heart. I can call off the engagement with Grace. I'll marry you. The Liu and Zhu families can maintain their alliance, but you must promise to get Grace's legs treated, find her the best maternity hospital, and let Grace's child, even though it is not mine, inherit the Liu and Zhu family assets in the future." Listening, I nearly laughed out loud. Jackson, however, narrowed his eyes, his expression turning serious. Jackson is too disgusting. I advise you to break it off with him soon. Stay away from the Northeast Circle. I don't like the smell of coarse cornmeal on you. If you have no objections, first send a house and a car to Wudong Apartments later. I need to take Grace for her prenatal checkup. Public transport is very inconvenient. His audacity was baffling. All his demands seemed utterly ridiculous to me. I asked, "Victor, what do I get by marrying you? I can't have you. I can't have your money. I have to raise your child and give the Zhu family's wealth to a child with no blood relation to you. What exactly am I in it for?" He sneered. "Because you love me." I was stunned. Victor's voice grew more certain. "Chloe, I know you love me. You fell for me at first sight when we were young. Saw me as your only support. I'm giving you the title of Mrs. Liu, letting you gaze at me from afar. I won't touch you. I'm not as cheap as Jackson. I remain faithful to Grace. So, Chloe, be content. Otherwise, you'll end up with nothing." Excellent. I never knew such a shameless person existed in this world. Then he leaves me no choice. I didn't want to say another word to Victor, and hung up directly. Then I said to Jackson, "Weren't you saying before that you wanted to teach Victor Liu a lesson? Go ahead. I won't stop you." Jackson's dislike for Victor wasn't a one-day thing. I hadn't wanted the Zhu and Liu families to fall out too badly, and I didn't want Jackson, who had just entered these circles, to cause trouble. So I had always restrained Jackson from acting against Victor. Jackson had been brooding over it, always thinking I still had feelings for my ex. Forget it. Some old sentiments between families are just burdens. Hearing my words, his face finally lit up. "You're really willing?" I knew he misunderstood. I didn't bother explaining again that I truly had no feelings left for Victor. I just said, "Go ahead. Otherwise, if he makes a comeback, I might really get back with him." I said it sarcastically, but he took it seriously. His handsome face immediately turned stern, gritting his teeth. He said fiercely, "Trying to steal my wife? I'll finish him off." Jackson's methods were crude. After hearing Victor's demands to me, he actually sent a house and a car to Victor, but the house and car were on a use first, pay later basis. The luxury apartment cost $2,000 a day. The luxury sports car cost $3,000 a day. After using them for a month, the bill came to around $150,000. There was also the nanny hired for the apartment, $10,000 a month. The chef coming daily to prepare nutritious meals, $100,000 a month. After Victor and Grace lived comfortably for a month, the creditors came knocking. Victor had no money, so he called me. I'd long since blocked him. He cried out to heaven and earth, but no one answered. Finally, the police got involved and he was sent directly to jail. Jackson then came to claim credit. "Wife, praise me." I pouted. "Just 3 months in jail, getting Victor on the debtor's blacklist, making him a deadbeat. The Liu family could pay off that petty cash with a snap of their fingers." Jackson kissed me. "Don't worry, the best is yet to come." What Jackson called the best involved Grace. Grace couldn't stand living alone and, prompted by someone, went to the Liu family. During the old patriarch Liu's 80th birthday celebration, she rushed in front of the media, weeping about Victor's hardships, her own hopeless situation, and begging the patriarch to take pity and shelter her. Her cries stirred up sympathy for the vulnerable. She firmly believes she and Victor share a true love. "Victor is so good. He doesn't care about money or status. He just wants a pure marriage. What's wrong with that? You great families are the ones at fault. Most of the world's money is already in your pockets. Why do you want even more? Yes, life without money is hard, but after having so much money, you lose true goodness and beauty. How can such profit-driven capitalists bear the responsibility for the nation and its people?" She raised the stakes dramatically. Her words struck a chord with the journalists and the common people. The world was already unfriendly towards capitalists. There was widespread dislike for them. But anyone else could accuse Patriarch Liu of being profit-obsessed. Grace had no right She was a member of the lower strata who had survived precisely by relying on capitalist wealth. Her subsistence allowance came from a foundation established by these great families. The surgery for her paralysis was funded by the foundation. Everything she ate and used came from the Liu family. She clearly couldn't accept an ordinary, hard life like the masses. Yet here she was, blaming the wealthy for prioritizing profit. But the media would use the sharpest angle to blow out the story. Grace's stunt caused the Liu Group stock to plunge. Grace thought her actions would make patriarch Liu see the error of his ways, and make the Liu family realize that only the kind-hearted Victor could be the heir. But she was too naive. A century-old family like the Liu's would never allow an unworthy woman to cause them such significant losses. So, Patriarch Liu publicly accepted Grace in front of the news media. But in reality, on her first day in the Liu house, Grace went into premature labor, gave birth to a stillborn. On her second day in the Liu house, Grace was scalded by boiling water, disfigured. On her third day in the Liu house, she was caught red-handed stealing. Because the amount involved was huge, she was sent to the judicial authorities that very night. It was you who had someone whisper in Grace's ear, telling her to cause trouble for the Liu family. Right? I asked Jackson. Jackson tutted twice. My wife is so clever, as expected. He leaned in for a kiss. I asked him what was next. Did he need to do anything else? He chuckled lightly. Next, I don't need to do much, just wait for Victor to get out. Wait for Victor to do whatever he's going to do. Jackson really didn't need to do anything else. After all, Victor had already dug his own grave. After Victor was released, he still managed to get Grace out. If he had lain low, he might have been able to make a life with Grace. But he couldn't be content. He had to think so highly of himself. On the day Jackson and I got married, he had the audacity to try and disrupt the ceremony. Even though Grace was sitting right there in the audience, he actually snatched the microphone from the officiant, stood before me, and publicly declared his love for me. Sorry, Chloe. It's only now that I understand my true feelings. The person I've always loved is you. You are so beautiful, elegant, and noble. Any woman pales in comparison. I was blind to have chosen that worthless woman. Give me another chance. Please, Chloe, marry me. Victor took out the ring he had used to propose to Grace, knelt on one knee on the ground. The venue fell silent. I thought everyone must have been so nauseated by Victor's performance that vomit was blocking their noses and throats. His shameless speech continued. Chloe, I don't mind that you've been with Jackson. I swear I'll treat you even better than Jackson did. Marry me. You can do the laundry, cook, clean, bear my children. I'll work hard to build a business and give you a happy life. Believe me, I can make a comeback and give you the best life. His words were so sincere. His attitude so earnest. But I couldn't help it. I vomited right on Victor's cheap suit. A fang, I feel sick. Quickly throw this disgusting thing out. And that one in the audience looking all pitiful like I owe her something. Jackson's, and my wedding wasn't affected by this little episode. The ceremony proceeded normally. The Northeast Crown Princes, thinking Victor deserved a beating, couldn't resist each giving him a kick while throwing him out. As for Grace, the wheels on her wheelchair were broken, so she couldn't move. But she desperately wanted to question Victor about how much of what he said during this ceremony was true. So she crawled over to where Victor, beaten half dead, lay and asked him, what you said to Chloe earlier, how much was true? Do you regret being with me? Of course Victor regretted it. He regretted it ever since the Liu family abandoned him. But he'd held on to his pride, unwilling to admit he'd chosen wrong. Which was why he always spoke to me with that condescending reverse psychology. He wanted to get back together but couldn't lose face. Victor, say it? Wasn't I your true love? How could you fall for Chloe again? Grace, I was blind before. How could I choose a disabled, used goods like you? Old, ugly, and crippled over the little princess of Shanghai. The venomous words spilled from Victor's mouth, shattering Grace's self-esteem. She widened her eyes, straining to hear Victor's accusations. Look at yourself. What makes you think you can compare to Chloe? You had some aloofness before. But now, begging for my love? You're disgusting. Your crippled legs, your stretch marks, the age spots on your face, which of those is presentable? If I were you, I'd have hanged myself long ago. Who are you trying to burden by staying alive? Victor had nothing left. So he abandoned even the last shred of decency. He knew Grace well. His words were like daggers, stabbing repeatedly into her heart. Grace had high self-esteem. Once she set her mind on someone, she wouldn't change it easily. Even now, with Victor insulting her like this, she forced a smile, then calmly crawled back into the banquet hall, found a small knife and crawled out again. While Victor was lost in his painful memories, she stabbed the knife into his heart. Inside the banquet hall, guests were gathered, the atmosphere lively and bustling. Outside, blood flowed freely, and two lives came to an end. When Victor's death was reported to the Liu family, they just said to send him to the crematorium. When Grace died, there was no one to notify, so she was sent to the crematorium along with him. No one collected their ashes. They were simply scattered to the wind. Jackson, not wanting me to find it inauspicious, never told me about this. After the wedding, Jackson took me to his hometown in the Northeast. He took me to the morning market. The meat buns were huge and oil cakes cost only £1 each. He took me skiing. The vast expanse of white was like a fairy tale world. He took me hunting in the wild. We hunted poultry, roasted them over a fire, and ate skewers, a completely different life experience. We played like this for 6 months. I ate and drank with him, having more and more fun, and getting fatter. I felt I couldn't keep getting fat and started dieting to lose weight. But Jackson wouldn't allow it. He provided me with good food and drinks every day. This happiness continued until my water broke. Only then did I realize I was pregnant. When the child was born, Jackson was beaming with joy. "See, I said if I didn't tell you were pregnant, you wouldn't suffer as much. Playing with me every day. Happy, right? The baby is so beautiful. It's a daughter. Looks just like you, wife. I'm so happy. Am I really not dreaming?" He pinched his own cheek until it was red. Finally, tears of happiness flowed. I teased him, "Aren't you the mighty Northeast Crown Prince? Can't you be less sentimental? Always crying more than me." He wiped his tears and said, "What do you know? Before that day, I cried every day, cried from unrequited love. My heart almost broken. Now these are tears of happiness. Won't you let me cry a bit more? Wife, hug. I fucking love you so much."